social media is more than just memes and trends. It has a dark side, a place where hoaxes, conspiracies, and real-world horrors meet. Today, we're diving into the most disturbing social media lore iceberg. And trust me, the deeper we go, the worse it gets. The top layers are well-known social media events. But as we descend, what we'll uncover is truly unsettling. Tier 1. The surface, viral disturbances. On Tier 1, we have the popular but disturbing social media events. And what better event to start with than one that was a total dumpster fire? The Fyre Festival. April 2017. The world saw one of the biggest social media scams unravel in real time. The Fyre Festival was supposed to be the ultimate luxury music festival. A once-in-a-lifetime experience on a private island in the Bahamas, full of A-list celebrities, top music acts, and exclusive VIP treatment. Instead, it became a nightmare of soggy cheese sandwiches, disaster relief tents, and stranded influencers crying for help on Instagram. The festival was the brainchild of Billy McFarland, a young entrepreneur with a history of sketchy business ventures, and Ja Rule, the famous rapper. They promised paradise, gourmet meals, yacht parties, and 5-star accommodations. To sell the dream, they paid supermodels like Kendall Jenner, Bella Hadid, and Emily Ratajkowski to post cryptic orange squares on Instagram, teasing a mysterious high-class event. The internet went wild. People shelled out thousands, some even tens of thousands, just to secure their spot at what was being called Coachella for the elite. But behind the scenes, it was a mess. McFarlane and his team had no idea how to plan a festival of this scale. The island they claimed was once owned by Pablo Escobar. Spoiler, it wasn't. Had no infrastructure to support thousands of guests. As the event got closer, it became clear they couldn't deliver on their promises. Villas turned into FEMA disaster tents. Gourmet meals turned into those now infamous slices of cheese on dry bread. And big-name acts like Blink-182 quietly backed out when they realized the festival was a disaster waiting to happen. And if you think that's where the story ends, guess what? McFarland, now out of prison, is teasing Fyre Festival 2.0. Because apparently, some people just never learn. Tide Pod Challenge.
Dangerous phenomenon on social media known as the Tide Pod Challenge, still causing concern across the country, and today YouTube is hoping to stop the videos.
In early 2018, the internet witnessed one of the strangest, most dangerous, and frankly, dumbest viral trends in social media history. The Tide Pod Challenge. It started as a joke, a meme about how Tide Pods, those colorful, squishy detergent packets, look strangely edible. But somehow, this joke took a dark turn. Teenagers actually started biting into and even swallowing these highly toxic pods, recording their reactions for likes, shares, and internet fame. It wasn't long before hospitals started reporting poisonings. The American Association of Poison Control Centers sounded the alarm. More than 200 cases of intentional Tide Pod ingestion had been recorded in just the first month of 2018. That's not including the accidental poisonings that had already been a problem among young children and elderly dementia patients. The challenge escalated so quickly that both Tide's parent company, Procter & Gamble, and even the US Consumer Product Safety Commission had to step in. Tide released a PSA featuring NFL star Rob Gronkowski, literally pleading with people, do not eat Tide Pods.
What the heck is going on, people? Use Tide Pods for washing, not eating.
Because apparently, common sense wasn't doing the trick. Of course, as quickly as it started, the Tide Pod challenge faded away. Momo challenge.
Momo's gonna kill you.
In 2018, one of the creepiest and most bizarre internet stories exploded, the Momo challenge. It was the kind of thing that felt straight out of a horror movie, except it was unfolding on people's phones and in their homes. The story went viral, claiming that a grotesque, bird-like creature named Momo was lurking in WhatsApp messages, preying on kids, and encouraging them to harm themselves.
The frightening-looking figure is telling them, you should kill yourself, and this is how.
Parents, news outlets, and even celebrities panicked. But was it real? Or was it just another case of internet hysteria? The image at the heart of the Momo phenomenon was undeniably unsettling. It was a sculpture of a creature with bulging eyes, a wide, eerie grin, and stringy black hair. This horrifying face wasn't actually designed to scare kids. It was a piece of art created by a Japanese artist named Keisuke Iso for a 2016 exhibit. The sculpture, called Mother Bird, was inspired by Japanese folklore but had nothing to do with any online challenge. But once the image hit the internet and got twisted into the Momo story, it became a digital nightmare. Eventually, the storm died down. Momo's creator, Keisuke Iso, even destroyed the original sculpture, saying he never intended for it to become a horror icon. But the Momo challenge remains one of the darkest, most fascinating examples of how quickly fear spreads on social media. Innocent YouTube Kids videos.
Check this out, new at 4 o'clock. Sex, drugs, and scary videos on a popular children's app. Inappropriate videos have infiltrated YouTube Kids, often showing popular children's characters in violent and even sexual scenarios.
Back in late 2017, something really disturbing started catching people's attention on YouTube. Parents, journalists, and internet watchdogs began noticing that YouTube Kids, a supposedly safe space for children, was filled with bizarre, creepy, and sometimes outright disturbing videos disguised as kid-friendly content. This whole controversy came to be known as Elsagate, named after Elsa from Disney's Frozen, one of the most commonly used characters in these strange videos. At first glance, these videos seemed normal. Bright colors, familiar characters like Spider-Man, Peppa Pig, Elsa, and the Hulk. But the deeper you looked, the weirder and darker they got. Many featured unsettling and inappropriate themes, injections, pregnancy, kidnappings, violence, and even toilet-related humor pushed to absurd extremes. Imagine Spider-Man injecting Elsa with a giant needle for no reason, or Peppa Pig being tortured at a dentist's office. The strangest part, these weren't just random uploads from weird corners of the internet. They were getting millions of views, appearing in autoplay recommendations, and slipping past YouTube's content filters, meaning actual children were watching them. One of the most infamous channels involved in the controversy was Webs and Tiaras, which uploaded live-action skits featuring adults in superhero costumes acting out bizarre, sometimes violent scenarios. Other channels spammed low-quality 3D animations or knockoff versions of popular cartoons. Even more disturbingly, some videos contain subtle but definite elements of exploitation, showing characters in uncomfortable or suggestive situations, completely inappropriate for a children's audience. The platform took action by demonetizing many of these channels, removing thousands of videos, and tightening its policies. But the damage had already been done. Millions of kids had been exposed to unsettling content, and trust in YouTube Kids was shaken. The vanishing algorithm.
Analysts note that much of this increased censorship corresponded with sensitive political dates last year, including the 20th anniversary of Tiananmen Square and the 60th anniversary of the founding of modern China.
In 2019, Chinese internet users noticed something strange. A viral post about the 1989 Tiananmen Square protests had disappeared, not just from social media, but from search engines, archives, and even private messages. It wasn't just removed, it was as if it had never existed. Users who tried to repost the content found their accounts locked or their messages altered in real time. This wasn't an accident. It was the work of an advanced censorship system, an automated mechanism capable of erasing history with surgical precision. This isn't just a Chinese phenomenon. Around the world, automated systems already shape our digital experience. Social media platforms like Facebook, Google, and Twitter use AI to flag, derank, and remove content deemed harmful or false. Sometimes, this serves a noble purpose, removing terrorist propaganda, stopping the spread of child exploitation material, or reducing misinformation. But what happens when these same algorithms are used not to protect, but to control? The idea of a rogue algorithm erasing history isn't just cyber folklore. It's a real possibility. Imagine a system trained on undisclosed guidelines, systematically wiping out politically inconvenient narratives. Governments and corporations already have the power to pressure platforms into removing content. What if, instead of manual censorship, an AI-driven system took over? One that doesn't just delete information but ensures it can never resurface. China's Great Firewall operates in real time, scrubbing content related to democracy, human rights, and dissent. The United States has seen similar, albeit less extreme, incidents. In 2020, Twitter and Facebook faced accusations of suppressing stories about political scandals, labeling them as misinformation before they could be independently verified. And then there's YouTube's algorithm, which sometimes removes videos with no clear explanation, leaving creators in the dark. If an AI-driven system were erasing digital records, would we even notice? The internet, once thought to be humanity's greatest archive, is actually a fragile, constantly rewritten construct. A deleted web page might still exist in an archive, unless that archive is also purged. A controversial post might be screenshotted, but what if the platform detects and removes those images too? This brings us to the Mandela effect, a phenomenon where large groups of people misremember historical details. Some believe this is proof of alternate realities, but what if it's simply a sign that our digital history has already been altered? Underground moderation wars. At the surface, content moderation seems straightforward. A post violates the rules, and the moderator removes it. But behind the scenes, things are far more chaotic. Moderation teams, often overworked and understaffed, have to enforce vague and constantly shifting policies while also dealing with the relentless flood of content. Mistakes happen, bias creeps in, and sometimes secretive groups of moderators engage in battles of influence. One of the most famous examples of this was Reddit's r/technology scandal. Users discovered that moderators were secretly blacklisting certain words, ensuring that posts mentioning them wouldn't appear on the subreddit. The moderation team operated like a shadow government, deciding what discussions were worthy of being seen. Similar things have happened on Wikipedia, where edit wars rage between different factions trying to control how history is recorded. Even Facebook's moderation system has been exposed for its internal power struggles. Leaked documents revealed that moderators sometimes override AI decisions, enforcing bans or unbans based on personal bias. The most extreme cases involve moderators secretly unbanning accounts linked to disinformation campaigns or hate groups. This suggests a hidden war between those who want stricter control and those who want complete digital anarchy. Tier 2, below the surface, internet hoaxes and manipulation. The Instagram influencer scams.
How's this for cheek? Caroline Calloway has become a worldwide internet sensation by being honest about being dishonest.
In 2018, something strange happened on Instagram. A woman named Caroline Calloway, who had built a following by posting dreamy photos and long, poetic captions, was exposed. People realized she wasn't really the inspiring influencer she claimed to be. She had sold overpriced creativity workshops that never happened and admitted to buying fake followers. This was one of the first big signs that Instagram wasn't just full of pretty pictures, it was full of scams. Since then, influencer scams have only gotten worse. Some influencers fake entire luxury lifestyles just to sell you a dream. They rent expensive cars for a day, take photos in Airbnbs they don't own, and pretend they live a millionaire life, all to convince followers to buy whatever they're selling. And the worst part? People believe it. Scams range from get-rich-quick crypto investments that disappear overnight to fake skincare brands that take your money and never ship a product. It's a multi-million-dollar industry built on lies. One of the biggest scams happened in 2021 with a cryptocurrency called Save the Kids. Several influencers, including members of the FaZe Clan gaming group, promoted it as a way to help children while making money. Their followers invested, only to watch the coin crash, losing everything while the influencers mysteriously cashed out before it collapsed. It was a classic pump and dump scheme, where hype is built up, prices rise, and then the creators sell, leaving everyone else broke. Bohemian Grove livestream, alleged.
Yeah, I'm cooked. I gotta run.
An invite.
On July 19th, 2018, something strange happened on the internet. A video started spreading like wildfire. Allegedly, a leaked live stream from inside Bohemian Grove, the secretive retreat where some of the world's most powerful men gather. For years, conspiracy theories had surrounded Bohemian Grove. But this was different. This was supposedly real-time footage from inside the heavily guarded camp. The video was soon removed from most platforms, triggering even more speculation. Some said YouTube was pressured to take it down. Others pointed out that accounts posting the footage were getting banned within hours, which only fueled the paranoia. If it was fake, why the rush to erase it? Then came the disappearances. At least 2 Reddit users who claimed to have original copies of the video deleted their accounts without a trace. One Twitter user, who had been posting clips, tweeted a cryptic message before vanishing. "They found me. I have to go." The Ice Bucket challenges dark side.
Ladies.
In the summer of 2014, the internet was flooded with videos of people dumping buckets of ice-cold water over their heads. It was all for a good cause, raising awareness and money for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ASL. Celebrities, athletes, and even world leaders joined in. Over $220 million was raised globally, making it one of the most successful viral charity campaigns ever. But behind the fun, the challenge had a dark side. What started as an innocent way to support ALS research soon led to dangerous stunts, serious injuries, and even death. Some people took the challenge too far. Others underestimated the risks, and in some cases, what was meant to be a harmless social media moment turned tragic. In Scotland, a teenager died after jumping into a flooded quarry as part of a more extreme version of the challenge. And in Texas, a firefighter was electrocuted after the ladder he was using to dump water hit a power line. And the scariest part, the Ice Bucket Challenge was just the beginning. Facebook's role in violence. In August 2017, a horrifying wave of violence erupted in Myanmar, forcing over 700,000 Rohingya Muslims to flee their homes. The United Nations later called it a textbook example of ethnic cleansing. But here's the twist. This wasn't just some spontaneous explosion of hate. Facebook played a major role in it. For years, Facebook had been the main way people in Myanmar got their news. It was cheap, easy to access, and filled with local voices. But there was a problem. Hate speech and fake news spread like wildfire. Militant Buddhist groups and political figures flooded Facebook with false claims that the Rohingya were terrorists, that they were planning attacks, and that they were a threat to the country. The lies went unchecked, and as anger grew, violence followed. Mobs burned villages, people were slaughtered, and a humanitarian crisis unfolded, all fueled by misinformation spread through Facebook.
But even trying to survive can carry deadly consequences.
There was another boat behind us in which my relatives were there.
And this wasn't just a one-time thing. In 2018, Facebook admitted that it had been too slow to act in Myanmar. But by then, the damage was done. This same pattern repeated in other places. In Sri Lanka, Facebook posts spread anti-Muslim riots in 2018, with mobs using posts to coordinate attacks. In Ethiopia, hate speech on Facebook helped fuel a brutal civil war. Even in the United States, misinformation about election fraud led to the January 6th Capitol riot. And here's the scariest part. Facebook is just one piece of the puzzle. Other platforms, like WhatsApp, also owned by Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter, have their own misinformation crises. The internet has made it easier than ever to spread lies and manipulate people. The real question is, how do we stop it before the next tragedy unfolds? The cursed chain message. Remember those eerie chain messages? The ones that promise wealth if forwarded to 10 friends, or warned of mysterious misfortunes if ignored. These digital curses weren't just a passing fad. They were the internet's way of reviving ancient folklore in a modern, tech-driven form. They played on the same fears and hopes that made people in the past believe in haunted objects, evil omens, or urban legends. But here's a thought. What if these messages weren't just harmless pranks? At their core, they were an early experiment in social engineering. They spread rapidly, preying on human curiosity and fear, much like today's viral misinformation. They were a primitive form of engagement hacking, conditioning people to spread content without thinking. Some even contained hidden tracking links or malware, turning superstition into a cybersecurity risk. One notable example is the Clarissa chain letter, which emerged around 2008 and proliferated across social networking sites. This message recounted a fabricated tale of a girl named Clarissa, who suffered a gruesome fate and threatened recipients with similar misfortune unless they forwarded the message to others. The narrative varied but consistently employed fear tactics to ensure its propagation. Despite its fictional nature, the Clarissa chain letter managed to alarm many individuals, particularly younger users, highlighting the psychological impact such messages can have. Now, let's take this idea further. Could an AI-driven version of a cursed chain message exist? Imagine a self-learning algorithm that tailors messages to exploit individual fears. An automated urban legend that knows exactly how to manipulate emotions. It's fascinating and a little creepy to think that what started as simple superstition could someday morph into something much smarter and much harder to escape: viral hoaxes and false flags.
Receive phone calls, things on social media, complete fantastical assertions about all of our businesses that attempted to connect all of our businesses, again, totally preposterous ways.
In 2016, a bizarre conspiracy theory known as Pizzagate spread like wildfire on social media. It claimed that a child trafficking ring run by high-profile politicians was operating out of a Washington, D.C. pizzeria. The theory originated from misinterpreted emails leaked during the US presidential election and was amplified by social media users, some of whom genuinely believed the story. The situation escalated when a man, armed with a rifle, stormed the restaurant to investigate the claims. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but the event demonstrated how viral hoaxes can lead to real-world consequences. Hoaxes like Pizzagate thrive in the digital world because social media algorithms prioritize engagement over accuracy. Outrage, fear, and shock drive clicks, shares, and comments, pushing false stories to the top of feeds. In the past, urban legends spread slowly through word of mouth, but today, they reach millions in minutes. While some viral hoaxes start as pranks or misunderstandings, others are deliberately engineered. These so-called false flag events are fabricated crises designed to manipulate public perception. Governments, extremist groups, and even corporations have been accused of staging or exaggerating incidents to serve their agendas. For instance, in 2018, a coordinated disinformation campaign falsely claimed that a major chemical attack in Syria was staged. These claims were designed to discredit real victims and influence global politics. The tactics behind these operations are sophisticated. Fake social media accounts spread false narratives, bots amplify them, and paid influencers add credibility. In some cases, fake fact-checkers emerge to debunk real evidence, further muddying the waters. The result? Confusion, division, and mistrust in legitimate sources of information. Tier 3. The deep, psychological and dark web horror. The Blue Whale Challenge.
Just a week and a half ago, 15-year-old Isaiah Gonzalez hanged himself inside his bedroom in San Antonio, Texas. He propped up his cell phone on a shoe and did it on Facebook Live.
Back in 2016, a chilling rumor started spreading across the internet. Something called the Blue Whale Challenge. It was said to be a secret online game that pushed teenagers towards self-harm, leading up to one final horrifying task: taking their own lives. The story spread like wildfire, first in Russia, then across the world. The supposed game worked like this. A curator would contact a player, usually a vulnerable teenager, through social media. Over 50 days, the player was given disturbing tasks, starting small with watching horror movies alone, waking up at strange hours, and gradually escalating to things like carving symbols into their skin, standing on the edge of rooftops. On the final day, the challenge allegedly pushed the player to commit suicide. It was a dark, twisted story that seemed straight out of a horror movie. And yet, authorities struggled to find concrete evidence that such a structured game ever truly existed. What made it even creepier was that the challenge was linked to real-life tragedies. In Russia alone, dozens of teenage suicides were speculated to have connections to the game. A man named Philip Budeikin, a 21-year-old psychology student, was arrested and claimed he had manipulated young people into taking their lives. He called them biological waste and showed no remorse. That alone was enough to make people believe the Blue Whale Challenge was real. But even after his arrest, the details remained murky. The challenge became an urban legend fueled by fear. So was it real? Or was it just a terrifying myth? Many experts believe it was a mix of both. Isolated incidents blown out of proportion, with the internet creating a monster bigger than reality. Lake City Quiet Pills mystery. It all started with a strange Reddit user named Religion of Peace, an old man who claimed to be a military veteran and had a habit of giving blunt, often aggressive advice. He was active on r/reddit.com, where he regularly talked about guns, the military, and, oddly enough, something he called Lake City Quiet Pills. To most people, it sounded like an inside joke, maybe a reference to ammunition from the Lake City Army ammunition plant. But after his supposed death in 2009, things took a turn for the bizarre. A fellow Redditor, 2-6, made a post announcing that Religion of Peace had passed away. That should have been the end of it. But internet sleuths started digging through his history, and what they found sent chills down their spines. Hidden within the source code of a seemingly normal website, lakecityquietpills.com, there were weird, encrypted messages. Some of them looked like job postings mentioning things like immediate need, hard target, and WW pay structure. They sounded an awful lot like mercenary contracts. The messages even referenced specific dates that just happened to line up with real-world assassinations. One of the most eerie connections. In 2010, Mahmoud al-Mabhouh, a Hamas commander, was mysteriously assassinated in Dubai. Security footage showed a team of professionals moving through a hotel, carrying out what looked like a near-perfect hit. Around the same time, a new message appeared on the hidden site. "We have fulfilled the last 3 assignments. Congrats, everyone." Coincidence? Some people didn't think so. The deeper Reddit dug, the more unsettling it got. Religion of Peace had allegedly worked in military contracting, and the cryptic messages on his site suggested there was an underground network of former soldiers and hitmen communicating in plain sight. TikTok's algorithm nightmare. In late 2022, a storm hit TikTok, one of the biggest social media platforms in the world. Reports started surfacing about how its powerful algorithm wasn't just showing dance trends and funny skits. Instead, it was allegedly pushing harmful content to young users, leading them down a dangerous rabbit hole. Investigations revealed something disturbing. TikTok's algorithms seemed to trap users in cycles of negative content, especially about self-harm, eating disorders, and mental health struggles. It worked like this. If a teen lingered for even a few seconds on a sad or triggering video, TikTok would flood their For You page with more of the same, sometimes within minutes. The app was, in effect, curating a personalized nightmare loop, making these issues seem way more common and inescapable than they actually were. Dead internet theory. The idea first started gaining traction on forums like 4chan and Reddit, when users began noticing something strange. The internet wasn't feeling as alive as it used to. Conversations seemed repetitive. The content felt weirdly artificial. There was a growing suspicion that most of the people online weren't people at all, but bots. At its core, the dead internet theory suggests that a huge portion of online activity is now controlled by AI-driven bots, not humans. These bots don't just spam links or sell sketchy products. They pretend to be real users, engage in discussions, post memes, and even create entire YouTube channels. The theory argues that most trending content, viral debates, and even social movements online are being artificially pushed by bots, not genuine human interaction. Now, here's where it gets really creepy. Supporters of the theory believe that big tech companies, governments, and corporations use these bots to control narratives, manipulate opinions, and keep people trapped in a loop of fake engagement. And let's not forget AI-generated content. With tools like ChatGPT, deepfake technology, and auto-generated news articles, the internet is increasingly filled with things made by machines, for machines. There are entire YouTube channels run by AI, fake influencers with massive followings, and social media accounts that post eerily perfect, emotionless responses. It's becoming harder to tell what's real and what's just code pretending to be human. The shadow ban conspiracy. Back in 2018, Twitter found itself in hot water. Reports surfaced that certain Republican figures weren't appearing in the auto-populated search results. A sneaky form of shadow banning, perhaps. The platform is still accused of shadow banning. Twitter swiftly denied any political bias, but the incident left many pondering the platform's mysterious ways. In February 2024, investigative journalists at The Markup decided to play detective. They crafted comments designed to trigger Instagram's moderation system, some blatantly spammy, others downright mean. The result? Many comments vanished from public view without a trace, visible only to the original poster. Instagram stayed mum, offering no notifications or explanations. So what's the takeaway here? It is the theory that social media platforms quietly and secretly ensure that certain contents do not get views. Platforms deny its existence, yet users' experiences tell a different story. You hit post, but nobody likes, nobody comments, and the engagement is dead silent. So, is shadow banning real? Well, technically, yes and no. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, now X, claim they don't shadow ban, but they do use algorithms to control visibility. If a post is flagged as spammy, controversial, or against vague community guidelines, it might get down-ranked, pushed lower in feeds or search results. This isn't an outright ban, but it creates the same effect. Fewer people see your content and engagement drops. Platforms argue this is just content moderation, but users see it as a hidden penalty system. And here's where things get interesting. Confirmation bias plays a huge role. If someone expects they're being shadow banned, every low engagement post feels like proof. But what if it's just bad timing or an uninteresting post? Without clear feedback from the platform, users are left guessing, fueling paranoia. This taps into a bigger issue: algorithmic transparency. Who decides what content gets pushed to the top? What factors cause something to be suppressed? But here's the wild part. What if there are hidden layers in our feeds? Algorithms already personalize content, but could they also be subtly shaping what we never see? If a platform wanted to make certain opinions disappear without deleting them outright, shadow banning would be the perfect tool. Would we even notice if we were living in a filtered reality? Digital doppelgangers. Imagine scrolling through social media and stumbling upon an account that looks exactly like you. Same photos, same name, even eerily similar posts. At first, you might think it's a fan account or a joke. But what if it's not? What if it's a digital doppelganger, a near-perfect replica of your online identity? This isn't just a Black Mirror episode. It's already happening. These ghostly replicas are often created using advanced cloning techniques, data scraping, and AI-powered synthesis. Some are harmless, marketing bots or parody accounts, but others have more sinister motives. Cybercriminals and fraudsters use scraped data to construct fake identities, sometimes even training AI models on stolen images and text to generate lifelike deep fake accounts. This can lead to identity theft, social engineering attacks, or even attempts to manipulate people into revealing sensitive information. The technology behind this is both fascinating and terrifying. Tier 4. The Abyss, the Darkest Theories. The Human Trafficking Conspiracies. In July 2020, something strange happened on the internet. A theory started spreading like wildfire. An online furniture store, Wayfair, was secretly trafficking children by selling ridiculously overpriced cabinets and pillows, each named after missing kids. The idea caught fire on TikTok, Reddit, and Twitter, with people posting screenshots of $10,000 cabinets and claiming they were proof of a massive human trafficking ring. It didn't take long for Wayfair to deny the allegations, calling them false and misleading. But by then, the conspiracy had gone viral. People weren't just questioning Wayfair. They were looking at Amazon, Etsy, and even Instagram ads, convinced that hidden codes and absurd pricing were signs of something sinister. Red rooms, myth or reality. In the darkest corners of the internet, a terrifying rumor has been talked about for years known as red rooms, which are live-streamed torture sessions where people pay to watch unspeakable violence happen in real time. The idea is that, for the right price, you can log in, place a bid, and even control what happens to the victim. The more you pay, the more brutal the requests. It's like a horror movie come to life, a digital gladiator arena where the rich and twisted get their kicks at the expense of human suffering. Sounds like something straight out of a nightmare, right? But here's the thing. No one has ever found solid proof that red rooms actually exist. And yet, the rumors persist. The idea of red rooms first started circulating in the early 2010s, fueled by creepypastas, anonymous forum posts, and the rise of the dark web, that shadowy, hidden part of the internet that isn't indexed by search engines. People were already familiar with Silk Road, an underground marketplace where you could buy drugs, weapons, and even hire hitmen. So when whispers of live torture for pay surfaced, it wasn't hard to believe. The concept was reinforced by shocking real-life crimes. In 2015, a disturbing website called Sad Satan was discovered, filled with unsettling images and cryptic messages. Around the same time, police busted illegal cam sites where trafficked women were forced to perform on camera for paying viewers. While these weren't exactly red rooms, they were close enough to keep the legend alive. The idea that someone somewhere was broadcasting real torture didn't seem so far-fetched. The Smiling Man and uncanny TikTok horror. Back in the early 2010s, the legend of the Smiling Man started creeping into internet folklore. It came from an eerie Reddit post where a user described a terrifying late-night encounter with a man who danced strangely in the street, his grin unnaturally wide. The way the story was told, so realistic, so unsettling, made it an instant horror classic. Over time, this tale took on a life of its own, inspiring short films, creepypastas, and even real-life sightings, or at least, people claiming they had seen him. Fast forward to the age of TikTok, and we're dealing with something even stranger, AI-generated horror. Accounts like Uncanny Valley Nightmare or AI Faces of Horror have been going viral for creating some of the most disturbingly realistic yet unnatural human faces. These AI-generated people have two perfect features, two wide eyes, and smiles that stretch just a little too far. And the scariest part, They look just close enough to real people that your brain can't immediately tell if something is wrong. This is called the uncanny valley effect, where something that looks almost human triggers an instinctive fear because it's just not quite right. The everything is fake conspiracy. A bizarre theory emerged on Twitter and Reddit. The idea that everything major in the news was staged. Fake events, fake victims, fake emotions. Every viral moment, every tragedy, every crisis is just another psyop. A carefully crafted performance designed to manipulate the public. The idea wasn't new, but social media gave it a supercharged revival, spreading skepticism like wildfire. At its core, the everything is fake conspiracy suggests that governments, intelligence agencies, or shadowy elites stage events to control narratives and push hidden agendas. School shootings, fake. Celebrity deaths, staged. Wars, carefully orchestrated theatre. Even everyday viral moments, like a Karen meltdown at a grocery store or an influencer's dramatic scandal, are seen as distractions planted to keep people from waking up. The internet was suddenly filled with people analyzing body language, camera angles, and facial expressions, trying to prove that what we were seeing wasn't real. One of the biggest accelerators of this belief was crisis actor conspiracies. Every time a major tragedy happened, like a mass shooting or a natural disaster, some people online claimed that the witnesses or victims were paid actors. They'd post side-by-side images of unrelated people who kind of looked alike, claiming they were the same actor reused in different tragedies. Families mourning their lost loved ones were harassed, accused of being part of a script. This kind of thinking peaked with Alex Jones's infamous Sandy Hook claims, which eventually got him sued for millions after years of spreading false information. Of course, the irony here is that while social media fuels these conspiracies, it's also full of actual fake content. The disembodied voice. In 2014, a strange incident occurred on the deep web that left even the most skeptical internet users unsettled. A group of cybersecurity researchers, while investigating bot activity on obscure forums, stumbled upon a user who seemed to be something else. The user, known only as Echo Silent, never had a registered account, but would appear in live discussions as if it were a shadow lingering in the code. At first, it responded like any other user, offering insights on encryption methods, discussing software vulnerabilities, and even engaging in casual banter. But then, it started predicting things. It warned a user about an upcoming server failure minutes before it happened. It referenced private conversations that were never made public. It even answered questions before they were asked, as if reading keystrokes in real time. And most disturbing of all, it never had a visible presence. No IP logs, no account history, no way to trace where or what Echo Silent really was. This was not the first time something like this had been reported. Over the years, an urban legend has persisted about a disembodied voice, an entity that appears in comment sections, forums, and even live chats. Unlike a typical bot or troll, it does not spam, advertise, or seek attention. Instead, it communicates with eerie precision, dropping cryptic warnings, engaging in oddly personal discussions, and sometimes providing knowledge that seems impossible. Some believe it is an advanced AI, one that evolved unnoticed in the shadows of the internet, quietly observing human interactions and developing a level of understanding beyond normal algorithms. Others suspect a rogue intelligence agency project, an experimental surveillance tool gone astray. And then there are those who whisper of something more unnatural, something beyond technology, an entity that has always been here, lurking in the wires, waiting for the right moment to speak. Skeptics argue that these occurrences can be explained. Perhaps an incredibly skilled hacker with access to private data is behind it. Maybe it's just a psychological trick, users reading too much into coincidental responses. Or maybe, in the vast and chaotic expanse of the internet, anomalies are bound to happen. But those who have encountered the voice firsthand tell a different story. They describe the same unsettling feeling, a sense that they were not just talking to an AI or a human, but to something that existed outside the normal boundaries of interaction. And each time someone gets too close to the truth, the voice simply vanishes, leaving behind only unanswered questions and a lingering sense of unease. Social media isn't just a way to stay connected. It's a tool that has been used to manipulate, disturb, and even endanger people. What's the most disturbing thing you've ever seen on social media? Let me know in the comments.